Hi, and welcome to a new session, the next session, Tuesday afternoon, track 4. My name is Kevin Dempsey, and I work for Tecan's Technology Development Group. We're based in Boston, and we offer complex design service for really high-end electromechanical systems, and we can pull that through to contract manufacturing. Before I get to the important business of this afternoon, introducing 5 great innovators, I'd like to just take a moment to talk about some of the challenges that these innovators face as they try and speed their time through the various gates like approval, etc., all the way to commercialization. Excuse me. So we all know the stakes. Time is really important. Being first in the market in your category can have big advantages, but probably more importantly for the people in the room here, time is money literally, so you're trying to avoid burn rate. So people try to develop and design their devices with speed in mind. There are some risks to that, and the reality is that designs that are optimized for speed can very often struggle to scale. So it's not about, the finish line is not about getting FDA approval, it's about getting your device out there to the people who need it so you can make a difference. So you got to be really careful that when you make design choices that you're not just thinking about the first, FDA approval is not the end, it's actually the start. So, there are examples of early stage companies, particularly in, say, disposable surgical devices, that were in such a rush to get through approval and get to the market that they used off-the-shelf components. Now, when they did get to try and finally scale to have a commercially viable product, a lot of those components were very difficult to source at volume, and more importantly, because the product is a high-volume product, it's very difficult and expensive to manufacture manually. So your components need to be sourced and designed in with automated manufacturing or manufacturable processes in mind. So what are some strategies for scaling without sacrificing speed? Well, we use 2. As I say, we offer design services, but whether you're doing the design in-house or using a third party, it's important that you come up with some tricks and tips for designing for scalability. So 2 that I'd like to talk about today are modular platforms and flexible systems. Modular platforms are a really clever idea because rather than just designing from start to finish a single device, if you can break that device into functional modules that can be easily interchanged, upgraded, well then you can adapt to various issues you might have through your design journey. And those issues could be anything from legal, IP concerns, to regulatory, or even to not getting the therapeutic outcome that you were looking for. And early renal denervation devices really suffered for this. They weren't designed for flexibility. And then when they went into the field, they found that they had limited application because they were just a one-trick pony. And someone at the bar last night was explaining when I was trying to explain this concept, they said, oh, it's like a pitcher with just one pitch. They very soon get found out. So I said, as an Irish person, I'll try a baseball analogy, see how that goes. Probably got it wrong, but I gave it a go anyway. So, sustainability in design is really important. So whether it's your own in-house design team or you're working with a third party, it's important that you take time to consider the longer-term implications of your design strategy. And really, you want to work with a team that has efficient processes and pre-existing technology frameworks that are going to reduce delays during the design process. So you don't want to compromise speed. Speed is still important, right? Scalability built in, so your design experts have to be able to anticipate future requirements and design accordingly around those requirements. And then sustainability, of course, so using world-class practices to, learn from your mistakes prior, right? So use world-class practices to ensure a durable, compliant, and an adaptable solution. And another example of where speed really caught us out was the design of ventilators for the COVID pandemic. So a lot of people tried to bring a ventilator to the market, but they really weren't designed for long-term success, and most of those didn't really have any commercial success or make a big difference to the population they were trying to help. So what are the tools and processes that deliver when you're trying to balance speed with sustainability? Modular platforms, we talked about that, it's really important. And modular platforms just don't help to speed the design process and give you flexibility, but a lot of people like a modular platform because it's easier to manufacture. My background is contract manufacturing. Modular platforms can be easier and cheaper to manufacture at scale. And also, they're a lot easier to manage in the field. So if you have requirements to do some field service, having a modular platform is quite useful because you can do hot swaps in the field and minimize the downtime for your customers. And also, if you need to upgrade your product, you can do it. If it's a modular platform, you can upgrade it fairly easily. Obviously, we're in medical device, there are challenges. And then flexible design approaches. So one thing we like to do is incorporate FPGAs into our designs. So they're very flexible rather than using ASICs or microcontrollers that are pretty much monofunctional. We put in FPGAs which can be programmed in the field, thus their name. And that, again, that gives you more flexibility and allows you to play around any issues you might have in terms of efficacy or any other issues with the design. And a big advantage of the FPGAs that we use is that they're great for parallel processing. So for applications that have high data packages or for applications that need real-time control, using FPGAs is really an effective way to have a very successful device. And as I mentioned before, proven frameworks. So how we support people to long-term successes, we challenge you a bit, and I hope I challenged you here today. So the big question, are you building solutions that are going to be quick, they're going to get you to market at the right timeline, but also going to be sustainable and scalable into the long term? Because as I say, we're here to get solutions out in front of the patients. And if we're not doing that, we're not doing our job right. So we have to. We're all focused on the short game. Everyone here we're talking about FDA and exits, but really at the end of the day, we need to design for the patients that ultimately will use the products. So partnering with the right partner like Tecan, or there's lots of ways of doing this. A lot of people like to do it in-house, but we certainly offer a great service. So if I've mentioned anything that's of interest to you, I'm here for the week. Please come along, say hello, connect with me on LinkedIn. Shoot me a message. Here to collaborate and meet people and see how we can help you. So thank you.